Here's a painting I've completed in acrylics. I like the painting. I think it's a good composition and there's some good light going on here, but I think I'm going to try and go over it with oils. Why? I want more texture. I want to get more vibrancy, more bright color. Yes, I could carry on with acrylics, but I think oils over this acrylic painting is going to be a nice variation. We'll see. I might ruin it. I might improve it. Let's give it a try. Okay, I'm painting with my usual palette, except for one change. Instead of cerulean blue, I'm using cobalt blue. So I've got titanium, cobalt, ultramarine, deep yellow, lemon yellow, red light, alizarin, burnt sienna, and yellow ochre. As you can see, I'm starting to redo the sky, but I think I'm going to mix up or pre-mix a few piles of color. This will just help me get the thickness of the paint down a lot quicker, and I won't have to fuss about mixing on the palette as I go. That's my usual approach, but in this case I want to get basically impasto layers throughout the painting, and having a few premixes helps with that. I've put in a touch of lemon yellow, as you can see, as well into the mix to get slightly warmer color lower down towards the top of the hillside, as you can see there. Putting it all down with a number 6 bristle brush. That'll also help me get a couple of extra bits of texture as well. So it's all about just building up layers and getting impasto and brush textures. Now I must stress that this is not about trying to find one medium better over the other. It's simply about trying out something different and just pushing an idea perhaps to see if I can get something that just appeals to me. It's very much a personal thing. I paint very often with acrylics, as you have noticed on my channel, and I do that in my painting process as well, often starting off with acrylics and finish off the painting off with oils. Yeah, just adding some sparkle on that water, a few highlights. But you can immediately see as the oils go down just how much more vibrancy they bring to the painting. So to get the same thing with acrylics, I would certainly go over the painting in more layers of acrylics, and that's what it comes down to. As I've had the painting presented to you in acrylics, that would not normally be the completion of a painting for me, and I would go over parts of the painting or even the whole painting in fresh layers of acrylics to boost the vibrancy and interest level. So mixing up some colors for the foliage in the trees and the hillside and the background. This used to be my approach when I was learning to paint as well. I would start off with acrylics, do a rough blocking in, not quite as detailed as this, and finish it off with oils. For the most part though, I'll just start with oils and work right through, but there are times when you can even leave some of the acrylics showing through, or indeed a lot of the acrylics showing through to the end of the painting, and just use oils on certain areas where perhaps you want a higher intensity or vibrancy, just whatever effect you're looking for. Now I'm going to work through this painting on a very sort of spontaneous way. I don't have a specific plan for it, except to keep the subject more or less as it is, but explore color and just play with color, see what happens. It is a very important part of your painting process to just schedule painting time for yourself. This isn't a painting for the public, as it were, or maybe it will end up in my gallery, who knows, but that's not the intention when starting out. Otherwise you play it too safe and you hold yourself back. This is simply to explore. If I put down a color, as I'm doing now perhaps, on the side of the tree, and I don't like it, I'll change it completely. I will lose that paint if necessary. It doesn't matter. You have to just go through these trials and learning moments and experiment and see what happens. Now, I don't quite like just having the tree in shadow like that. I'm going to put down these warm tones, warm color notes to really boost the yellows and orange colors. Orange, of course, is going to work well against all the blue in the water. There's the blue in the sky and some of those shadows as well. Will they remain that sort of blue-purple color? Who knows? And this isn't worked from a reference either, so I can't even share that with you. This is purely an experimental composition. And what I learn here, I will take forward into other paintings and put something together that is going to be based on whatever I've picked up and color combinations I like from this painting. But already significantly changed. I have to obviously re-establish a lot of that foliage. But these branches, the lost and found branches, the cooler blue branches in shadow, I quite like that effect. And that's something I will store for future use in the old memory bank. Lightening up that hill in the distance to push it further back, make it a bit more atmospheric. And touches of desaturated green to suggest trees and perhaps distant forest, something like that. And a touch of sparkle on the distant shoreline. Okay, the foliage, I'm adding some darker greens, as you can see, to pull the sort of trees forward a bit more. Although I quite like the warmth of the acrylic, and as I'm painting this, I do recall thinking how I'm perhaps making this now a bit too dark, and I mustn't lose that warm light. But unfortunately, once you get going down a path, you have to see it to the end. So warming up these greens, trying to get some of that warm light back into the painting. It's very important for me to keep these shapes loose and interesting, and not let the trees dictate their appearance in some sort of formulaic fashion, so they end up looking like Christmas trees. But now I've lost a lot of the sky holes, and I want these trees to look sort of beaten up with erratic branches, and that means getting some of the light back and then re-establishing some of the tree trunks, but still keeping them sort of broken up and not too perfect, as it were. Really putting on the paint there a bit too much, so just scrape that away, and you can see how thick that paint is. And that, I think, to me is simply the appeal of oils, not just the instant vibrancy and sheen of the oils, but the fact that you can put on that texture and just get it down and it stays there. Yes, I can use more expensive acrylics, the heavy body acrylics, but they also come with a somewhat heavy price tag as well, and I find that can be a little restraining. But even with student quality oils, you get that thick texture and paste effect right from the start. So it's a real bonus when you can paint like a rich man and not actually spend a fortune. So getting down a shadow pattern with broken color and slight color temperature shifts in the foreground, and then I will bring in some dappled light. I first got to get the darks established. I quite like the blue with the touches of orange, but also like the idea of getting the painting just a little warmer. For some reason, all of these cools are making it a little too cool. So that light is not quite correct as well, so let's just get some bit more dark in here and then set it up for a good deal of light warm color. Okay, these touches of yellows are now what I'm looking for. I like the way they're working against the blues, so I'm going to put that in high volume and get some blinding light into this painting. Already add some punch and bit of zip to those shadows. Titanium white, yellow, touch of red. Soften the edges against the water. And now that's given us a real punch of light on the shoreline. Can I bring that in as well, just to get some more dappled light, perhaps just a little bit darker and cooler. Lemon yellow, titanium white, and lots of it on the brush. I think we need to get it right in here as well and just take it in to the focal point here in the rule of thirds. Not entirely sure about that sort of coolish pink color there. I'll have to get some burnt sienna back perhaps, but let that rest. Let's just carry on. Touches of greenery to carry the color from the trees. Just perhaps a little light, I think. So this is the process. This is the experimenting with the color and trying things out, dialing it back when you have to, scrape off and redo if you have to as well. Stand back, look at your painting often and see what's troubling you. If something bothering you about the painting, then find out what it is. Think about it, take a break if you have to, come back and see if you can fix the painting. That's what it's all about, solving problems really. Every painting presents a set of problems to solve. Just a bit of extra darkness at the foot of the tree adds a bit more impact to the painting. Now I'm looking for color variety, one color against the other, complementary colors adding some energy. This is sort of getting to a point where I'm kind of running out of ideas, to be honest. I like this yellow, as you can tell, and I think it's given the painting a strong focal area. But it's a little busy in the foreground. I'm going to have to work back in there, consolidate shapes a little, and perhaps get some of that warmth back again. And so I reworked the painting. This was the start, and you can see I've added more orange to the tree trunks. Now I think the final painting is a bit more of what I had in mind. I've got the textures, I've got the thick paint, and the warm light has also returned. It's an entirely different painting, but as an experiment, I'm quite happy with the result. Well, there it is, the completed painting, all in oils. I must admit, I did have a little twinge of regret when I got to the end of the painting and I thought, I should have just stuck with acrylics. But then I worked over the painting just a little more and brought in some more warmth on the side of the trees and in the leaves as well, a few more warmer tones of green. And then I was happy. So it's all about just trying something new with your painting. Using a different medium is not going to ruin your painting, it's just going to give you a different painting. And that's what it comes down to. One is not better than the other, it's just getting a different result and maybe something that's more interesting to you as the artist. You've got to always do something to keep yourself interested and motivated. Try things a little differently. Maybe you'll go down a path that is going to take your painting further. So you may think the painting is a lot worse, or maybe it's better. Doesn't really matter as long as you have fun with your painting. I do have a short course on painting with oils over acrylics. You can find a link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't miss the next video coming up soon. And until then, happy painting and cheers for now.